So the Switch 2 has finally released after what felt like eons of awful online takes, blatant misinformation, and people being surprised that a handheld console can't output the same amount of power as a PS5. What a shock. Thankfully, I was able to snag one fairly easily, and have been sinking my teeth into the new Mario Kart, Street Fighter 6, and finally playing Pokemon Scarlet at a frame rate that does not make me question my life choices. However, while these games are all fantastic, there was one game that I was looking forward to playing the most, just out of sheer curiosity. And that was Switch 2 Welcome Tour. When they showed it off, I thought, oh, what a neat way to show people how the console works. I can't wait to see how this plays when I get it. Only to find out that it wasn't a pack-in title. This, followed by Mario Kart World's price tag, led to a 1-2 combo which irated quite a lot of people online. I myself was admittedly confused by this. Why was this game not a pack-in title? What kind of welcome tour expects the user to know enough on how the system works that they can navigate to the menu, go to the shop, and buy the game? It's like going to a museum tour that starts halfway through. It's bizarre. According to Nintendo themselves, they didn't want to give it away for free because of the amount of care and work poured in. Fine, I get valuing your work, but when you see the price tag, it's only £8. At that point, charging almost feels petty. I bought it with the leftover gold coins, for goodness sake. Rest in peace, gold coins, you'll never be forgotten. It screams, should have been a pack-in, even louder than before. I needed to see why they thought this was worth the price tag. Why was this not a pack-in title? What about this makes them think it's worth that price? Will this make me truly understand the power of the Switch 2? Or will this just be a simple deck demo that will be forgotten years down the line? Will this be as good as Nintendo Land, or be an oddity like 1-2 Switch? Well, let's take a look. When you load into Switch 2 Welcome Tour for the first time, you can tell that a lot of time and effort went into it. The presentation is great. It's presented like you're going to the Switch 2 exhibit. The colours and overall design do feel high quality. It's not pushing the Switch 2's graphical limits, sure, but the presentation is genuinely great, super charming, like a high quality Nintendo brochure just sprung to life in front of you. The character selection screen is also unique. It's presented as a line of people, all queuing up to see the Switch 2, and after you select your person of choice, you're thrown into the first area, called, well, Area A. This is one of the two Joy-Cons. From here, you talk to people and go to these stands that pop up whenever you go near them for a stamp on your tour brochure, almost like you're in a museum. Along the way, you'll see these quizzes that ask you to read some information about something the Switch 2 does, and then quizzes you on that said information. These are all very easy, as long as you actually pay attention to what you're reading and being presented with, and don't blitz past them like I did. Then, we have these playable demos and minigames. The demos themselves are very basic, requiring you to do some simple action to get a feel for whatever it is the game's trying to demonstrate to you. For example, you have these maracas that you shake to show off the new HD Rumble 2. Another demo has you going through Super Mario Bros. 1-1 in 4K. And by that, I mean you play the game at the resolution the game was originally presented in, on a 4K screen. I found this demo really charming and funny, but also, my god, it kicked my ass. I couldn't see anything I was doing with my old man eyes. I think I might need some new glasses. The minigames, however, are more involved. You're usually tasked with doing something using a feature of the Switch 2. For example, you have to guide these UFOs past some spiked balls while using the controller as a mouse for one game, and another one had you pressing these coloured buttons one after another, like Twister but for your hands. These all rank up in difficulty, usually throwing something new in to spice things up a little. One example would be the UFO minigame in the first area. It starts off simple, with you dodging these spiked balls, but then you play level 2, and you have to collect these stars while also dodging these said spiked balls, and then it goes on and on. If you're a fan of high scores and beating your previous best, you will have a lot of mileage here. And yeah, that's it really. It's a very simple package. The minigames themselves don't really get all that involved. There are also some lost and found items dotted throughout each area you go to, which you pick up and hand over to the main kiosk. Your reward for this is just a star icon next to the areas tab, so hope you weren't expecting anything nice from that. That's really the core loop. you explore an area, like a Joy-Con or the screen or the dock, hunting down the stamp stands in each and every one. Now, some of these are deviously hidden. I spent ages in the second Joy-Con area before spotting the NFC stand that was right next to the analog stand. You can also do quizzes if you fancy reading the info boards and tackle minigames. If you want to go to the next area, you need to get every stamp in the area that you're currently in, which can get tedious as it goes on, not gonna lie. Rinse and repeat throughout the console's guts, peripherals and add-ons, and boom, you're done. If this sounds like something you would like, then you will have a lot of enjoyment for this. However, for me, I just didn't find much to draw me in. It was neat seeing what the console could do, but after a while the novelty kinda just wore off, and I couldn't find anything else to keep me hooked. As stated before, the game will take you from the Joy-Con to the screen, to the inside of the console, to the add-ons themselves, and it will explain in quite good detail why these are designed the way that they are. There is just one issue though. If you do not have these add-ons, you can't really enjoy these areas. If you do not have a webcam, you can't play the webcam demo. If you do not have a 4K screen, you can't play that 4K Mario demo. So for some of these areas, you're kind of out of luck. You can't really experience everything the game has to offer unless you have these other items. I feel like this should have been addressed very early on. I do not remember seeing anything in the advertising for this game that specified that you also need a 4K TV, a webcam, and a controller with back panels. So if you want to experience everything the game has to offer, and you're lacking some of these items, then you either have to buy these items or input a button combination to skip these minigames. Which is nice that the game has that option, but it still just leaves the issue there. You're still missing part of the game that you bought because at no point were you told you need these extra peripherals. Am I thinking too much into this? Let me know. Overall, this game will take you around about 6 hours or so to beat, more if you're trying to get everything perfected, and some minigames will test you. I still have nightmares about the ball minigame where you have to guide it past these electrical wires. I don't know why, I just really suck at this one. But the $1 million question, or in this case, the £8 question, is it worth the money? Honestly, probably not for most people. Your enjoyment hinges entirely on whether or not you geek out on console design trivia and like tech demos. If you like to read about why a controller is designed the way it is, why they chose the shape they did for the console stand, and why they also use aluminium in it, along with why the Switch 2 AirTake system is designed to take in twice as much air as the original Switch, you will get a lot of mileage from this. However, if you don't really care about all of this, you will likely get bored once the novelty wears off like I did. It's cool seeing all of this inside information come from Nintendo, bearing in mind they're usually quite closed off when it comes to things like console specs. A lot of care went into the design of this thing, and it's neat to see why it is. But, like I said, if you don't care, it just feels like busy work. The minigames themselves are well-made tech demos, polished, responsive. There wasn't a single bug spotted on my playthrough. And they showed off the hardware in neat and clever ways, but let's be real here, they're not deep. Fun for a bit? Absolutely. Something you'll revisit time and time again? That's doubtful. It ultimately depends on what you, yourself, want out of this game, which is why this is such a hard game to figure out. I can't say that it was just hacked together, that's just not the case. The humour in the writing is top notch, the visuals are great, and the controls for the minigames are all fantastic and responsive. But if you're just not vibing with the contents of said game, all of this doesn't mean anything. Like I said at the start, I still believe this game should have been free. It's a bit of an ask for the consumer asking them to buy this game, as their enjoyment hinges on the things that they find interesting. Don't get me wrong, I don't like writing negative things. I didn't go into this game expecting to hate it. I was actually cautiously optimistic about this game because I heard nothing but good things online on Blue Sky. I also bought it to make a video about it. I wanted to see the vision that Nintendo had for this game, why they had so much faith that people would buy this game that they put it up for sale. And I just end up walking away confused, slightly bored, and yearning for a game like Wii Sports to show me how to use my shiny new console. Hell, I'll take 1-2 Switch. I actually enjoyed that game despite what others may think. Hi there, thanks for watching this video, I do greatly appreciate it. I never thought this would be the first Nintendo game I would ever review on this channel, but hey, here we are. How are you lot finding your Switch 2s if you have one? Do you like the console? Do you feel like there's some things that need changing? I am genuinely curious to hear what you think. If you liked this video and you want to hear more of my voice, please do consider subscribing, it does help out a lot. You can also check out some of my older videos. I made one where I went toe to toe with the raging REDASH from Monster Hunter World, and I also made a review based off Frogger 2 on the Dreamcast. As I said earlier in the video, I am on Blue Sky, so if you want to hear some ramblings from me, we can always follow me on there. And yeah, that's it from me. Have a fantastic day and I'll see you next time. Ciao.